Footballtribeug channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. It's another beautiful sunny morning out there down here in Kampala, and it's about 11 a.m. That's East African time when we are coming to you live to talk all matters football. Yesterday, we did confirm the UEFA Europa League finalists as well as those from the UEFA Conference League, as we will be discussing in just a bit. And then we will speak matters transfers. There's a lot of speculation that has been making the rounds lately, including Arsenal being mentioned now in the conversation of trying to sign Liam Delap from Ipswich Town. Now that does come as a surprise because we all have known for the last couple of weeks that it was Liverpool, as well as that it was Chelsea as well as Man United that were strongly interested or linked with the potential move for the England youngster there, the striker. So I will be talking a bit of that and more, perhaps. But yeah, that's it. But anyways, welcome back to the channel for those of you that are just joining us, and for those of you that we are waiting on to join us as we go on. Where do we even start? Of course, plenty to talk about, but I thought I should start on a thank you note to all our new subscribers, to all our followers that were with us yesterday night as we did the halftime and full-time review of that game between Manchester United and Athletic Bilbao that was at Old Trafford. So beautiful game of football. Of course, Manchester United having to do things the hard way because they needed a second half comeback, which has almost been their habit throughout the course of the campaign, that they often play a second half much better as compared to how they oftentimes portray themselves in the first half. Although when they went to San Mamés, the story was quite different and contrary to what we are saying, because it was in that first half that they did the biggest job and got everything done and dusted. So yesterday was, not to say it was a formality, because by halftime there was that bit of scare that maybe Athletic Bilbao could mount a comeback, but eventually in the second half, United put all that possibility to bed with the burst from Mason Mount, who did come off the bench. Amadou Diallo providing an assist there. We had spoken about him at halftime as some of the impact players that could be brought on. That was Mount and Amadou Diallo. We did mention Luke Shaw in that conversation. And then Rasmus Højlund also getting himself on the score sheet. Lenny Yoro being very pivotal in that equalizer, the assist that he provided. Yeah, pretty much that was it. And then of course Casemiro scoring with Bruno Fernandes providing the assist, which gave him his fourth assist of the campaign. So beautiful game of football there it was. I'm sure while Manchester United fans may have been disappointed with their own display in the first half, they must be really proud of the second half performance. I can see Fahimi says hi. Hi Fahimi. Thank you for joining us. Kindly like the broadcast, kindly consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. Greetings to one of my neighbors who calls themselves Okoyo. Much appreciated for always supporting. Fahimi, have you written Hindu? Please understand that I cannot read Hindu. But guys, do let me know where you're joining us from. What time is it? What country are you in? Kindly like the broadcast and consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. But thanks for the love. Thanks for the love and support. Really appreciate it. I do not take that for granted. So Fahimi, please let me know what country you're joining us from. If you do not mind, keep typing in English, because I do not know how to read Hindu, if that's Hindu that you're typing in any case. But much appreciated for the love and support. I can see Kati Anu. Kati Anu says, hey bro, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Although for us it's a good morning, we are 1 hour away to our afternoon. That's why I'm always interested in knowing what countries you guys are joining us from, so that we get a little bit of context in terms of the timelines. I know sometimes we do our broadcasts when it's deep in the night for our friends in India and they are going to bed, and then sometimes it's in the night for our friends in Italy. Yesterday we did have Emma from Luton Town, that's the UK, a Liverpool fan. You say Anu from Singapore, bro. Are you are from? Okay, Anu, thank you for joining us from Singapore. How is it down there in Singapore? I'm from Kampala, Uganda. That's in East Africa. Africa is a continent. East Africa is the sub-region of the continent, and Uganda is the country, also dubbed the Pearl of Africa, in case for those that are wondering. But I'm much appreciated for the love and support. Thank you for joining us. And kindly consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm seeing you here for the first time, unless for all the times you've been with us before, you did engage, but at least I think I'm seeing you for the first time, as well as Fahimi. Yeah, but thank you so much for joining us. So again, by the start of the week, you say, anyway, nice to meet you, bro. Much appreciated. Nice to meet you too as well. I hope everything is good in Singapore and you're doing all right. So by the start of the week, we had 4 English Premier League teams in the semi-finals of the different UEFA competitions. Arsenal in the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League, those got knocked out 3-1 on aggregate at the hands of PSG. We did have Manchester United in the Europa League, as well as Tottenham Hotspur and also Chelsea in the UEFA Conference League. Now, the other 3 have all advanced to the finals, in which Chelsea will meet up against Real Betis. That final will come on the Wednesday, 28th of May, between Chelsea and Real Betis, after Real Betis advanced at the expense of Fiorentina when they knocked them out 4-3 on aggregate score. Yesterday it was a 2-2 draw after extra time. Again, Anthony in there being one of those players that have continued to inspire this surge for Real Betis after joining them on loan for Manchester United in January. So it's been quite impressive. I do think a performance that Anthony has been able to put on for Real Betis. So, and when you look at his La Liga statistics, he's of course made 13 appearances, scored 4 goals, and provided 2 assists. That's a goal contribution of 6. While you may think he couldn't post those numbers at Manchester United for all the first half of the season that he was there. So clearly, that's I find that quite very telling. So, and I think if there's anything, you say, and you say, sorry, I'm in working place now. God bless you, bro. Okay, thank you so much. Enjoy your work. Enjoy your work. I understand that bit, because it's working time for most people. And yeah, I do encourage them to, keep up the hustle as they listen in on the broadcast. But like I was saying, Man United are cruising to a 4-1 victory. Mikel Guareza scoring the opening goal in the 31st minute there for the visitors in Athletic Bilbao. And like I said, it needed a substitute in Mason Mount to find the equalizer for Manchester United in the 72nd minute on the night. And then of course, Casemiro in the 80th minute with that header, thanks to a Bruno Fernandes assist, which raised his personal tally of goal contributions to 11 so far this season, 7 goals and 4 assists in the competition. That's Bruno Fernandes, who is a major target for Al Hilal. That's the team from Saudi Arabia that will be participating in the FIFA Club World Cup and are looking to take him out of Manchester United, although Manchester United is hierarchy and the boss in Ruben Amorim are adamant that the Portuguese international is not he is not to be subject to any transfers whatsoever. But of course, we all know that money speaks. He does turn 31 in come September, So, I mean, money talks, and they're trying to offer him a very lucrative deal to try and entice him to go to the Saudi Pro League, which would be quite understandable given his age profile. And then, of course, we had Rasmus Højlund in the 85th minute score thanks to an Amadou Diallo assist, as well as Mason Mount when he was given practically gifted that ball by the Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper in Julen Agrezabara there. So he scored in basically an empty net to make it a 4-1 on the night. And then Tottenham Hotspurs on the other side needed close to a 2-0 victory thanks to goals from Dominic Solanke and Pedro Porro, who did score to guide Tottenham Hotspurs to a 5-1 victory across the two ties to advance to the finals of the UEFA Europa League, in which they will now meet their rivals or Premier League rivals in Manchester United on 21st May, Wednesday, at Athletic Bilbao Stadium, which is the San Mamés there. So that one we'll get to discuss when the time of it does come. But I mean, it is going to be the first all-English final in the UEFA Europa League for the first time since 2019 when Arsenal met up with Chelsea. We all know what the result was. Chelsea embarrassing Arsenal in a 4-1 victory at Baku, or in Baku, Azerbaijan. Then away from the UEFA Europa League, yesterday again in the UEFA Conference League, Chelsea advancing to the finals thereafter beating Jagaden by 1-0. That goal scored by Kenan Dewsbury-Hall to send them to the finals. Of course, they already had the 4-1 aggregate, but they do advance 5-1 on aggregate. For Manchester United, it was a 7-1 aggregate score with which they advanced. And I think the semi-final has been their best performance. They've only conceded 1 goal, scored 7. That's as good as they come as they continue with their unbeaten run in the competition. And as the competition kept on going, you got the feeling that United could really do a complete curve without getting defeated, or a complete circle. And then, so in the other game between Fiorentina and Real Betis, like I said, that one finished in a 2-2 draw. Anthony opening the scoring for Real Betis in the 30th minute, while Gosens, I think that's yes, Robin Gosens scored a brace to give Fiorentina the hope that they could knock out Real Betis, because at 2-1, that was before halftime. It was a 3-3 draw in terms of the aggregate tally, and that's why we ended up into extra time there. And Fiorentina scored on the night to make it 2-2, which saw them advance 4-3 on aggregate score to book their place in the final with Chelsea. That final will be played on Wednesday, 28th May, and then on the 31st of May, that will be Saturday, we'll have the finals of the UEFA Champions League, in which Inter Milan will take on a PSG. That's at the Allianz Arena. So that's as far as the finals of the European competitions are concerned. Then away from that, let's speak maybe briefly. I thought briefly on the topic of Manchester United. Somebody was asking me who I would have chosen for the man of the match. I think I would have given it to Mason Mount for the 2 goals he scored, because overall it did feel like an averagely contested game, but a player that has missed 50 games for Manchester United ever since joining them, I think in 2023, for him to come on in the second half and score a brace was quite impressive. I thought he deserved to walk away with the man of the match accolade. Lenio, I thought, had a good performance. Of course, Casemiro going on to score. Manuel Ugarte was withdrawn. I didn't think he had, the best of games, really. And then Bruno Fernandes didn't have the best of games of the day. So it was that kind of game. You feel. But that was it. Anyways, let's speak matters transfers, because there's a lot of speculation making the rounds, including the latest that Napoli are interested in signing a 33-year-old Belgian midfielder in Kevin De Bruyne who is set to leave Manchester City at the end of the season. That was announced a couple of, I think, a month back, that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season after 10 seasons at the Etihad Stadium, where he's won 18 major trophies. So clearly, that is brilliant. Now, of course, we all know that Napoli are under the charges of Antonio Conte, who seems to be intent or hell-bent on raiding the English market for players. And we all know how competitive Antonio Conte is. He did raid Manchester United and took out Scott McTominay. And very recently, former Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was speaking quite glowingly and highly of Scott McTominay, as well as Harry Maguire, as players that he sort of relied on, that he thought were pivotal to that Manchester United side. And then he also raided Brighton and Hove Albion and took the former Chelsea midfielder. What's his name? His name is eluding me. Very diminished, midfielder. I think a Scottish international. If I remember the name in the due course, I'll mention it. But he took one of those. And then in recent times, we all know Napoli have been linked with a potential move for Alejandro Garnacho and that kind of thing. So now it is coming to light that they are also interested in signing Kevin De Bruyne. Reports do say that amid strong interest from clubs in the Major League Soccer as well as in the Saudi Pro League, the Belgian international would prefer to stay within Europe, but also in England there is interest from Aston Villa, who are monitoring his situation, to offer him a deal to see if he can in the Premier League and play for them, which I do think would be a very, very good addition for them. Then Napoli are also monitoring Jack Grealish. Remember when we were speaking earlier on, almost halfway this season, we spoke about the 8 players that could leave Manchester City at the end of the season, and among those was Jack Grealish, in addition to the likes of John Stones, Kyle Walker, who is known to AC Milan, Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan, Mateo Kovacic, Ederson Morales, that's the goalkeeper, and players in that cohort. So Napoli are also monitoring Jack Grealish, and I do not think it will be very, very expensive for them should they come to sign him. But that's according to the Sun in today's reports. Then Manchester City are interested in Bayern Munich target as well as Arsenal target in Ferdinand Wirtz. We spoke about him yesterday. He has, I think, last I checked, he had contributed 10 goals and 10 assists in 29 Bundesliga games. A very, very potent attacking midfielder in that Bayer Leverkusen side. But like I said, Bayern Munich are interested in signing him, but Manchester City want to make him their priority summer signing. Now, whether they can tempt him out of Germany over the advantage of him staying in Germany and going to Bayern Munich remains to be seen, but at least there's strong interest there. Arsenal have only been mentioned in the conversation in that circle, but in terms of strong links, it's been Bayern Munich leading the conversation, and now Manchester City are coming to the fold, and that's according to Mail Plus. As far as this transfer speculation goes, then Manchester United forward in Marcus Rashford, who is out on loan at Aston Villa, is eyeing a potential move to Barcelona. Now, this is not the first time we've had Marcus Rashford being linked with a potential move to Barcelona. Would Barcelona need a player like him? For me, I do not think so. Certainly not. When you have Rafinha, when you have Lamine Yamal, when you have Ferran Torres, when you have Fermin Lopez, Ansu Fati. Of course, Ansu Fati could leave the club at the end of the season because you get the feeling that he's a fringe player at Barcelona at the moment. But more importantly, I always wonder where Marcus Rashford would walk into that Barcelona team and get into the team. So whereas it would be a dream move for him, perhaps, I do not think it would be the best decision. I think he would be better off staying in the UK. And we all know that Aston Villa are looking to make that loan deal permanent should they be able to agree to terms with Manchester United over a transfer fee. Earlier reports did indicate that they had, I think, an agreement that should they be willing to take him on a permanent deal, it would cost them about £40 million, although he surged in form before his hamstring injury. There was speculation that his price tag had rose to £60 million. So we'll wait to see more about that in respect to Marcus Rashford, there, 27 years of age, the Man United player. And then Bayer Leverkusen right back is that's Jeremy Frimpong. We spoke about this one yesterday. He's being linked with a move to Liverpool, who want to replace Alexander Trent-Arnold, and we all know that Alexander Trent-Arnold will be leaving the club at the end of the season. We spoke about that yesterday, and he's almost just in waiting to join Real Madrid, but pending an agreement on a 5-year contract that has been tabled for the 26-year-old England international. So now, in finding a replacement, Liverpool are looking to turn to Jeremy Frimpong of Bayer Leverkusen, who is keen on a move away from Bayer Leverkusen at the end of the season, although he will not try to force a move. That's for the 24-year-old Dutch international in Jeremy Frimpong. Then, still speaking, Liverpool are also understood to be interested in signing Milos Kerkez, the left back from AFC Bournemouth, one of those players that I included in my best 11 of the season, best 11 Premier League of the season, that had David Wire in goal as a goalkeeper. And I know many contested that decision because they preferred Matt Sells, especially on our TikTok. We had a couple of comments there that Matt Sells was more deserving to be in the call. I really wouldn't want to argue so much with them or contest that opinion, because, like I said, while making that very starting late 11, I was torn between between Matt Sells and David Fryer. Only that I went on with David Fryer. So that was my feeling. But like I said, it was subject to your own interpretation and your own suggestions. Then in that defense, I went with Virgil van Dijk and Nikola Milenkovic of Nottingham Forest, as well as Milos Kerkez. So, yeah, Milos Kerkez is of also interest to Liverpool, who want to strengthen their wing back or their full-back positions in the wake of that news involving Alexander Trent-Arnold. Crystal Palace are interested in signing Joe Willock from Newcastle. He's been at Newcastle, I think, for 4 years now, ever since joining them in a £25 million move from Arsenal. So he's of interest to Crystal Palace. Remember, Manchester United are interested in Crystal Palace midfielder Adam Wharton. He's a central midfielder. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of moving pieces on the chessboard as far as this summer transfer window is concerned. Then Borussia Dortmund have joined the rest to sign Sunderland's 19-year-old England international. That's Job Bellingham. He's the brother to Jude Bellingham. So a lot of a lot of teams are circling around Job Bellingham, hoping that he would be the next mold of his own brother. And Manchester United have been mentioned in that conversation, although those links to United seem, I don't know, a little far-fetched, or kinda maybe they made an inquiry about the player, but that's it. Then Aston Villa do not want to lose Morgan Rogers, who is of interest to Chelsea. They are the 22-year-old is being tracked by Chelsea, who want to sign him, but Aston Villa say they do not want to lose him, although they do rate him quite expensively at £90 million. But I do not think Chelsea is a club that would hesitate to pay £10 million for a player that they want, because they've done it before. They've signed Mikhailo Modric for €100 million. They signed Enzo Fernandez for more than €100 million. They signed Moises Caicedo for £115 million from Brighton and Hove Albion. So they spent £50 million on Romeo Lavia, so from Southampton. So clearly they are not afraid to spend big on players that they want, but they are tracking Morgan Rogers, although Aston Villa do insist that they wouldn't want to lose him. He's scored 8 goals and provided 8 assists so far this season. That's a 16-goal contribution. In the Premier League, he's been quite a revelation. That's why he's been targeted. And then, of course, Al Hilal have also shown interest in signing Liverpool striker Darwin Núñez. Again, yesterday we spoke about Darwin Núñez, saying that Liverpool are okay or open to the Uruguayan international leaving the club this summer, and the expectation is that he will leave this summer. And Al Hilal have come in with interest for the Uruguayan international, 25 years of age, still young. And Liverpool, in the wake of that particular news, we all know have Alexander Isak as their primary target for any striker. That's if they can tempt him out of Newcastle. And I think for all the teams that have any interest whatsoever in Alexander Isak, will be praying that Newcastle will not qualify for the UEFA Champions League, which increasingly looks like they will do, because if Newcastle gets to qualify for the UEFA Champions League, remember Alexander Isak is already under contract until June 2028, so that means he has 3 years left to his contract. So then it makes the deal even more expensive. But once they have the promise of UEFA Champions League football, and that's the biggest stage where these big players want to play, so they would have that. But if when Newcastle fail to qualify for the UEFA Champions League, then the player and his camp would have the argument that, you know, our player wants to play in the UEFA Champions League and can't offer that, and maybe that sort of reduces his price tag a little bit. But we'll wait to see how that also spans out. But that's the majority of the transfer speculation. Then Man City are also looking to sign a right back. He's a Brazilian right back called Wesley. Yes, Wesley. Yeah. So we'll wait to see. Yesterday we also spoke about Dusan Vlahovic, who is being linked with a potential move to Arsenal, as well as Aston Villa. Not the first time we are hearing Dusan Vlahovic's name in connection with Arsenal. They did want to sign him for a couple of years back, but he chose to join Juventus when he left Fiorentina. At the same time, when Arsenal wanted to sign Manuel Locatelli, and he decided to join Juventus, and that kind of thing. So there's going to be a couple of players out there that will be hotcakes, including Dinhausen, who both Arsenal, Liverpool, as well as, in addition, that's Chelsea, who are strongly wanting to sign the Spanish defender before the end of May. That's the target. They want to make the move much early for whoever can lure him out of FC Bournemouth. Now, I think the deal will be very challenging for Arsenal. Reason being because when you're signing a 20-year-old centre back at FC Bournemouth, playing week in, week out, what kind of promise do you make him when you know you have a William Saliba, when you have a Gabriel Magalhaes, when you have a Ricardo Carafiori, a Julian Timber, when you know you have Jakub Kiwior, all players that seem to be hitting their prime? Does he walk in and get into the starting 11? It feels like it's not quite straightforward. So, and whereas when you look at maybe a project like Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk is, you know, coming of age, and in a year or two, he could be, you know, signing out of Liverpool or be reduced to just a squad player. And then you look at Liverpool Gomez in there, who is a backup for Ibrahim Konate. So Gomez would leave, and then you have that slot. Then when you look at Chelsea are still struggling to figure out who their best central defenders are, but at least Levi Colwill is known to be one of those. Wesley Fofana seems to be, you know, a bit injury prone. Tosin Aderabio signed as a free agent last summer from Fulham, has not been a mainstay in that starting 11. Benoit Badiashile has not been a mainstay in that starting 11. Trevor Chalobah has not been a mainstay. Desana Disasi out on loan to Aston Villa. So really, maybe Chelsea, but again, the sort of stability that you need, would Chelsea offer that? Maybe, because they are still in the process of building their own project. So maybe Liverpool, Chelsea would be more appealing to Dinhausen as compared to Arsenal, but that's just my opinion. But remember, the youngster is also linked with a potential move to Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. Now, of course, if Real Madrid did come in for him, I think he would be open to going back to going to Spain, because that's his native country, although he was born in the Netherlands. So it remains to be seen. But like I keep saying, Real Madrid need to first settle their managerial situation before they look to sign players. Then Liverpool have also inquired about the possibility of signing Rodrigo Goes from Real Madrid as well as Man City. Remember yesterday, or if not yesterday, but one, we were speaking largely about Rodrigo Goes being linked to a potential move to Arsenal, because it is Arsenal that had made the inquiry about the 24-year-old Brazilian international. So it looks like Liverpool and Man City have joined the mix of the conversation, but we'll wait to see if or how that also does pan out. But like I said yesterday, or like I explained to you guys, because of the FIFA Club World Cup that is going to be played in the USA, the transfer window is going to be open on the 1st of June, and it will close on June 9th. So there's going to be about a window of 9 days for clubs to sign players, and that window was created for clubs going to be in that competition to make their transfers. Then after that, it will close and then will open on June 16th. So some teams are going to be looking forward to close deals within that space of 9 days. So when that time comes and it feels like we are the transfer window has just started, but also feeling like more like it's drawing closer to its deadline, it's because of that. So that's the context they are in, and Real Madrid may be one of those busy teams as well as Man City. So that will be looking to work on to getting certain deals done. And then, of course, given Arsenal's disappointing season, there's been a lot of speculation again online amidst demands from a section of Arsenal fans that they do not think Mikel Arteta is the guy to crack it in terms of winning major silverware. Arsenal may look to do their own transfer business as early as possible. Leandro Trossard is being linked with the potential move to the Saudi Pro League, attracting much interest from there, with just a year left to his contract after the end of this season. Initial contract talks for a renewal did not, fall through, because from what I did gather was that Arsenal are trying to offer him a 2-year contract with an option to extend for a further year, yet he would have preferred a 3-year contract. So, and that kind of thing. So there's a mismatch in expectations there. So let's wait to see how all things do span out. But congratulations to Manchester United upon reaching the finals of the UEFA Europa League, as well as Tottenham. Congratulations, really, you deserve it. Anyway, you deserve to be in the final, regardless of what your domestic form has been for both teams. Now, the bitter fact for Arsenal fans is that their biggest London rivals, or their biggest rival in the UK, is Tottenham Hotspur, and they're in the final. Africa-wise, Arsenal's biggest rival is Manchester United. So it will be interesting to hear what Arsenal fans think, who they would rather win the Europa League, because either way, one of their enemies is winning, or one of their rivals is going to be winning that competition. So we'll wait to see how that spans out. As far as the UEFA Conference League is concerned, it's Real Betis versus Chelsea, and I'm sure many Chelsea naysayers or rivals would prefer that Real Betis go on to win that. So we'll wait to see how that does transpire. But I thank you for those that have been able to join us even during your working hours. Much appreciated. For those of you that do watch our live broadcast much later when we are done here, we do not take your time for granted. We do appreciate you a great deal. So thank you for all the time you render to watch our content. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Stay blessed and have a wonderful rest of the day. If there's any news worth discussing, we will be back here to discuss that and more. But do not forget that action does return in all across most of the leagues starting tonight, as well as tomorrow and Sunday. Of course, tonight Las Palmas are up against Rayo Vallecano. That's in the Spanish La Liga, while Hoffenheim are away to Wolfsburg. That's in the German Bundesliga. AC Milan will be up against Bologna. That's to come. But on Super Sunday, we have that big game between Liverpool and Arsenal. Newcastle are going to be up against Manchester United in the early kickoff. That game will come at 2 p.m. East African time on Sunday. Manchester United will be at home against West Ham United. Nottingham Forest will take on Leicester City, while Tottenham Hotspurs will be in the London Derby against Crystal Palace. So all that will come on Super Sunday. So I mean, quite a lot of action or interesting action that will be coming. And then, of course, tomorrow we do have Bournemouth against Aston Villa. Remember the ambitions of both teams wanting to play in Europe. Wolves will be at home against Brighton. Man City against Southampton. I expect Man City to, beat those ones because Southampton have nothing left to play for. Ipswich against Brentford and Everton against Fulham. But we will try to look at that maybe on Saturday morning or even tomorrow. Tomorrow, which is Saturday. Apologies. But stay blessed and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.